There's this very interesting statistic based on IRS data that when a woman earns more than her husband, she tends to round down when sharing how much she makes, and he tends to round up, so that when they communicate about it, they kind of close that gap as much as they can. So this is a very real problem in many people's lives.
Well, that's too bad, because sharing your finances is the ultimate intimacy. It's so easy to talk about sex. It's so easy to have sex on the first date. You don't talk about money on the first date or for a long time. But one thing I knew, and one thing, I made a list of everything I wanted in a man. And he had everything, 30 things. He had everything but one. It was the first one. I wanted him to be rich. But he had the second one, and that is I wanted him to have high self-esteem. And that he did. So he had no problem rounding up. I had no problem rounding down. And it was just very scary. It took me a long time to get financially naked. There's a wonderful book by Manisha Thakor. Do you know about that book? It's called Getting Financially Naked. And it's about speaking to your loved one about money. And so it took me a long time, but I remember just one morning, I looked at him and I said, what if we share our financial information now? We talked about doing it, and neither one of us. And I brought out my last financial statement and I just showed it to him. He wrote down everything he had and he showed it to me. We got up, we washed the breakfast dishes, and we took a walk, and that was it. And it was wonderful. And it was like, it just felt like so intimate and so beautiful. That's why it's sad to have to not be completely truthful about money for couples, because it really does bring you closer.
You know, I remember when you shared that, when it was still fresh. In your sharing it, I could feel your commitment to your relationship. And there was a time when your commitment to your relationship became stronger than whatever it was that had you not sharing it before that moment. And is that anything that, do you think about it that way? Is that anything you could speak to?
I was committed to the relationship, but I was committed to a relationship based on truth, a relationship based on transparency and authenticity. So it wasn't just a relationship, it was the quality I wanted. And I knew this would be a part of it.
You work with women. How do you see intimacy and money at odds with one another, dancing with one another? How do you help people with these kinds of matters?
I think of money as the ideal lover. The ideal lover. Because all money wants from you is for you to be happy, to support you, to make your dreams come true. But in return, like any good lover, it needs to be respected and appreciated. It needs you to understand it. So if you let money support you and love you by taking care of it and respecting it and understand it, you'll live happily ever after. So to me, it's about intimacy with money. And that's what I teach. And here's the thing, problems with money are never about money. I know you said that it's a big problem among relationships and is money, but the problem is not the money. Women's difficulties with money. I've learned this right when I started doing this. I believe their difficulties with money have nothing to do with money. It has to do with their fear of or ambivalence about power. Couples' struggles with money are not about money. It is always about power. And because it's not just about the money, it's who we have to become in order to be a container that can attract, that can sustain, and that can grow our wealth. It's like I define a powerful woman as someone who knows who she is, who knows what she wants, and expresses that in the world unapologetically. So essentially, our fear of power is our fear of becoming all of who we're meant to be, of speaking up, asking for what we want instead of watering ourselves down so we don't make waves. To me, power is truth. Truth is power. So the more you speak your truth and live your truth, and you encourage your partner to live their truth and speak their truth, to me, the more solid your relationship's going to be.